Well, in spite of the clock on the wall, it is 4 o'clock, and I'd like to call this regular meeting of the Southwest Licking Community Water and Sewer District to order. Please call the roll.
Mr. Stout?
Here.
Mrs. Carter? Here. Mr. Hudson?
Here, please rise and join me in the pledge of allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome one and all. We have an agenda before us. Are there any changes to it? I'll move to approve it as presented.
I'll second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Mr. Stout?
Yes.
Mrs. Carter? Yes. Mr. Hudson?
Yes, the agenda is approved. The minutes, I'll move to approve the minutes of the November 9th meeting as presented.
Second.
Your choice. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Mr. Stout?
Yes.
Mrs. Carter? Yes. Mr. Hudson?
Yes, the minutes are approved as presented.
I will make a motion to pay the bills, all those bills.
I will second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions or comments on them? Please call the roll.
Mr. Stout?
Yes.
Mrs. Carter? Yes. Mr. Hudson?
Yes, pay the bills. Mr. Roberts, do you have any communications?
None to present at this time.
Okay. Public comments? Mr. Evans?
Okay, if I could go first. Well, I wanted to thank Mr. Roberts for giving me some of the information I've been asking for a while, but I think the board does need to provide more information on a timely basis when an official you're attempting to work with requests it. And again, I don't know why it's being treated as public records when an official is being asked, because I believe other officials, they are not. It should be in a spirit of cooperation, and especially after, I won't state why, but after the reasoning why things weren't provided before, that was unacceptable. I mean, if it's public records, it's public records. It should be provided whether there's an election going on or not. That's not the board's privy to try to interfere with that in any way. So I look forward to getting more information, especially the costs on the other plant expansions and how the board intends on paying those, because I don't think we can just go piecemeal. And like I said, hopefully there'll be a free flow of communication and information. Thank you.
Mr. Burkholder?
Nothing at this time.
Ms. Hanson?
Nothing, thank you.
Executive Director's Report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I wanted to give the board an update on activities in Alexandria. You know, we provided an offer to take over their wastewater plant and system, and then that became sort of a political hot potato with Granville and Johnstown providing sort of an alternative proposal. At this point, the Granville-Johnstown proposal has been rejected, and ours is just kind of sitting there. So I had conversations with the mayor, I had conversations with a couple other folks from the village. We were planning on attending their council meeting right before Thanksgiving, and we were told that there was going to be no action taken and that they would actually prefer if we didn't show up to that meeting because we kind of intimidate them, which I thought was an interesting thing. But that was fine. We were fine to not attend that. I was told that there would be no action taken that night, which I believe there was not, and then I was told that there would probably be no action taken at their December meeting either. And so we're sort of in a holding pattern on that right now, which is fine. My guess is that Granville and Johnstown's proposal is being revised in some form, some manner, and so they'll be receiving that at some point. So no action has been taken in Alexandria, and again, don't expect it to be taken in. Apparently, they only meet once a month. Don't expect action to be taken in their December meeting as well. As that meeting approaches, we will touch base again to make sure we're not missing something. But that's kind of where Alexandria stands right now, and stay tuned.
Is there any official timeline for an answer?
No, they had imposed sort of a self-imposed 60-day deadline, which they've pretty much ignored, I guess. They got the request or the offer from Granville and Johnstown right before the end of that 60-day period, and they're kind of looking at it as, there's some turnover in leadership. There's going to be a turnover in the mayor's position, and I think they're maybe looking to wait until after the first year before they take any action. So I have not had the opportunity to meet with the incoming mayor yet. I've reached out and made that offer, but I haven't had the opportunity to make that meeting yet. So we'll see when that meeting happens and sort of see where that goes. But yeah, no, they're not looking at any deadlines, and I don't think we gave them a deadline.
So you can ignore your own self-imposed deadlines?
Yes,
Okay,
yeah, which I think they
I'm
chose.
sure they have good legal counsel to tell them that.
Yeah. So that's my Alexandria update. Any other questions on that?
How often will we have to update our proposal, or is it generic enough to?
My belief is it's generic enough to sort of stand true for a period of time. I don't know if we need to make any changes to it yet. And
All right.
it's a very fair offering, and we've been in that conversation for quite some time. And the other guys are coming in fairly late to the ball game, but we'll see. That was an interesting one.
Actually, I do have a question. Did it say specifically why we intimidate them, or if it's somebody in particular, or if it's that's actually a concerning comment to me.
Yeah, I think maybe they feel like a couple of individuals from here are intimidating to them, and probably wrong. Platt being one of those, but just I think they feel like they're not ready to make a decision, and us sitting in their audience sort of just makes it feel like we're being pushy. And so I was like, I just want to introduce myself. I've never met your council. I'm happy to just come in and have a very light discussion. And the mayor was like, yeah, let's just not do that this time. So we'll offer to do that again in December. So, yeah.
Well, if that's the only problem, you can easily have Rob not be there. He's just counsel for us, so.
Right.
I don't see any reason why he would need to attend.
Yeah, last time it was going to be just Nick and me anyhow, because Rob and CJ were both, well, I told CJ not to worry about it. It was the day before the last day of Thanksgiving, so. And we were really just interested in offering input or if there's questions or whatever, not intending to be intimidating at all, so. Yeah, interesting situation.
Certainly.
Yeah, so thank you.
I appreciate that you continue to reach out to them and, just extend an olive branch, and I would, obviously, that not, you probably are already in that process, but, take Rob out of that scenario.
Right, and he's actually fine with that too, so, yeah. Then just a general update, so I've been on the job a little over a month now, and I think we talked about that calendar year 2023, with me starting in October, would be a lot of input, a lot of sort of finding out where we stand with people, opening up doors that maybe haven't been opened before. So I just wanted to sort of fill you guys in on what's going on in this first month. I've had meetings with Granville, Johnstown, St. Albans Township, Monroe Township, Etna Township, Union Township, Pataskala, Turkersville, Alexandria, Jersey Township, Millersport, Hebron, Licking County Commissioners. So those are all local government entities that I have met with. I have pending meetings with Harrison Township, Granville Township, and Hebron again. Met with them previously, but meeting with them again. And a couple other second level follow-up meetings. I actually had a follow-up meeting with the county commissioners today, and I had a follow-up meeting with Granville today. So I think just about everybody we do business with or intend to do business with, we've at least introduced ourselves, had discussions with, more of those to come. I think I've had lunch meetings almost every day that I've been on the job, and I have those pretty much through Christmas at this point. So I've met with several developers, some of the big developers that we do a lot of business with, or that want to do a lot of business with us as well. I've met with several of the agencies, MORPC, Ohio EPA, Ohio DOD, several of our legislators, including Thad Claggett and Kevin Miller. And I've also been a part of meetings with that regard some of our current projects, including Wagram, Raccoon Creek Sewer, our sewer plant, the Yale Road project, the York Road project, our administrative building upgrade that we're doing here. I've had a lot of meetings regarding that. Josephine has been involved with a lot of that as well. So I feel like the sort of where do we stand, who are we trying to work with, pieces of the puzzle are starting to come together, which leads us into then moving forward, how do we develop and continue to build these relationships. We know there's conflict points that we need to work through, and we're identifying those. And I feel like we're off to a really good start, at least after 1 month. And I'm excited to master plan where we go from here. We have, again, a lot of focus on our current district and our current users and our upgrades to the current district area, but then also just a whole lot going on with the growth potential for the district. And most of my focus has been sort of the growth areas. CJ's continued to drive the boat on existing areas and existing projects. I'm trying to stay as involved in those as I can, but I think my focus remains on the growth areas. And, that was part of a discussion again with the county commissioners today, and is going to continue to be a focus of my time. So I want you guys to know I'm out there shaking hands almost every day and having meetings, some of the tough meetings with some of the people that don't really like us a whole lot yet. I'm trying to bridge some of those gaps. So we'll see where that takes us, but I think there's just a lot going on. The timing of me coming on board, I'm sure wasn't an accident. You guys saw the need for that, and my ability to mend some fences and work towards future growth of our district is really coming into play now. So stay tuned on that as well. I'm excited to see where it goes and excited to see where we can have some impact. So are there any questions on that?
You caught up on your vacation, CJ?
I don't think he's taken a minute of vacation since I've been here. So no, he hasn't. So.
Well, that's your job to make sure he gets it.
That's right, yeah. If no other questions, that's my report for tonight. I'm involved in some of what Josephine's going to talk about, a little bit of what CJ's going to talk about, some of what Nick's going to talk about, but that's my particular report, so thank you.
Operations Director's report.
Just a couple of project updates and then a standard resolution. State Route 310 Worthington Road water line improvements project update. That water line has been tested, has been bacteriological sampled, everything's passed, so it is complete, pending some small punch list items, but it is available and ready for use, and we are receiving some inquiries about tapping into that main. So,
is there anybody on there yet?
not yet, no, but working with some folks to get the wheels moving on being able to tap it.
Okay.
Just a quick update on some of the qualifications packages we had out. Those qualifications packages have been out for over 30 days now, and we received our statements of qualifications from engineering firms last Wednesday. So the staff here and myself will be going through those and scoring those accordingly. Had a pretty good amount of interest in all of our projects. So the Morse Mink Road water line extension and booster station project, we had 8 firms submit on that, so that's really good.
You know them all?
No, all of them. Some of them we worked with, some of them we worked with, some of them we haven't. The Worthington Road trunk line sanitary sewer project, we had 6 firms submit on it. And then the Outville the storage tank and booster station project, we had 4 firms submit on that. So looking forward to go through those and working with staff to evaluate those and start moving forward with design engineering on those projects.
CJ, if I could jump in on that one real quick, just for the information of the board, you know, I came from the consulting world, and the firm that I used to work for is part of teams or submitted on some of this, so I will not be part of the selection process on that, just to keep everything, you know. 6 weeks ago, I was working at one of those companies. I just think it's in the best interest of everybody if I don't participate in that selection process. So just to let you guys know about CJ, will continue to drive that. But
All right, I have a resolution to approve,
Quick question.
CJ.
I'm sorry.
Is that all of those projects? Or just individual projects?
I said I would stay out of all of them,
Okay.
regardless of whether Verdan is submitted on all of them or not. I just thought it would, for consistency's sake, it would be good for me to stay out.
So when do you think you're gonna get back in the game? A year or 6 months or a project or?
The way ODOT looks at it, it's a year.
Year.
I guess we'll see, because we're gonna have a lot going on in the next year.
Think?
You guys may know that. So yeah, my general thinking was that might be the way we look at it, just again, make sure there's no,
Okay.
conflicts of interest or anything like that. But it's a good question, Trent, if we have projects that they don't submit on or are a part of, it might make sense for me to become a part of those.
Right. Yeah, I believe there may be value in you having a part of those.
Sure, thank you. Yeah.
If there's no potential conflict, certainly,
Right,
but your experience lends yourself to being a part of a team like that. So.
right.
Okay, with no further interruptions, CJ?
I know you're fine. So, the resolution approved the Tree King project, Houston Hookup. This is located in Etna Township along National Road between Mink and Summit Roads. They've completed all their punch list items and are able to use services pending your consideration.
What's the size of their tank?
I believe a 1 inch.
So I'll move resolution 2023-131 as presented.
No second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Mr. Steph?
Yes.
Mrs. Carter?
Yes.
Mr. Hudson?
Yes, resolution 131 is approved.
So I have, unless there's any questions.
Thank you. Josephine?
I have a resolution to approve the health insurance renewal for 2024. We did receive a renewal option for our existing plan. It came in at almost 16% increase. So they did come back with some other options, and Jim and I looked at those and reviewed those and actually met with our broker to get a complete understanding of that. And the resolution is for, it's to change our existing plan. We were able to actually get a decrease of 18.8% or 18.08% to go with a new plan. The plan that we have been in for years, we were kind of grandmothered into after Obamacare, and we've kind of worn out the benefit of the grandmother plan. So the resolution is to change it to Aetna at an 18% decrease of the existing cost.
Existing versus the new one that they were going to give us.
Correct.
Instead of going up 16, it went down 18 from the old plan.
Correct.
How about the coverage? Is that?
So the coverage is the
Comparable?
same. They did kind of adjust some of the HRA dollars and the out-of-pocket expenses to take that in, to account for that, but the cost for the employee, they're 15%, but they will be paying the same thing out of pocket, sometimes even a little bit less depending on their family situation.
It's the first good piece of insurance news I've heard.
Yes.
I'll move resolution 132 for health insurance for 2024.
No second.
I have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? Please call the roll.
Mr. Stepp?
Yes.
Mrs. Carter?
Yes.
Mr. Hudson?
Yes, resolution is approved, and thank you very much for working on that.
Absolutely. The next resolution I have is to approve the general liability insurance for 2024, which
What's the good news on that?
It was actually, it was a 4% increase, which is amazing.
After the wrecks and everything.
Yeah, so we did not get any other bids because since we have open claims right now, nobody else wants to be a part of that. So the 4% increase is the only renewal option that we received.
Okay, I'll move resolution 133 to approve general liability insurance renewal for 2024.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? Do those claims have to roll off before we're even considered by any other insurance?
Yeah, if we have open claims, they,
Okay.
then we'll call you next year.
Okay.
Mr. Step?
Yes.
Mrs. Carter?
Yes.
Mr. Kretzmann?
Yes, resolution 133 is approved as presented.
The next resolution I have is to certify delinquents to the county auditor.
How many?
There's 55 this time.
Move resolution 134 to certify delinquents to the Lincoln County Auditor.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? Please call the roll.
Mr. Step?
Yes.
Mrs. Carter?
Yes.
Mr. Kretzmann?
Yes, resolution 134 is approved as presented.
And then my last item is just a, you have a copy of the shut-off list. We have 42 door tags on Monday, and we had 9 customers shut off, and 6 of those have been turned back on so far.
Thank you very much. Is that all?
That's all I have.
Mr. Eipert, are you getting heat in your end of the building?
I am. It's nice and toasty right there.
Okay.
So I have a resolution to approve the purchase of the Gale Road access easement. If you recall, a few months ago, we passed a resolution for an appropriation. We have worked out an agreement with the property owner for that access. And he has asked for $10,000, which we assumed that we would have in legal fees for the appropriation action.
Very good. I'll move resolution 135 to approve the purchase of Gale Road easement for the consideration.
I will second
I
that.
have a motion and a second. As for discussion, the easement, we can do anything we want in that easement, and it's, you're gonna do something right away?
It's for emergency access only.
Oh,
So this would be, we would put in a gravel road there that we would use in the event of a flood.
okay, so we're gonna prepare for the emergency and then just use it for, okay.
Correct.
Very good. Please call the roll.
Mr. Step?
Yes.
Mrs. Carter?
Yes.
Mr. Kretzmann?
Yes, resolution 135 is approved as presented.
The other thing I have is I was appointed to the OPWC Natural Resources Assistance Committee, which is a 3-year term. But for the great salary of $0. And I'll be representing the district for that
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Anything else for the good?
That's all I have for now.
Okay. The next item on our agenda is executive session.
So so we have 2 executive sessions. One is for the purchase of property, so if you do that one first, and then the G8.
Is there anything for the good of the order before we go into executive session for these purposes? Anybody have any comments? Okay. I move to adjourn into executive session pursuant to section 121.22, subject G8 of the revised code for the purpose of considering confidential information related to negotiations with other political subdivisions respecting their request for economic development assistance. The information is directly related to a request for development assistance that is to be provided or administered under Chapter 715 of the revised code, or involves public infrastructure improvements or the extension of utility services that are directly related to an economic development project. The board hereby determines that the executive session is necessary to protect the interests of the applicants or the possible investment or expenditure of public funds to be made in connection with the economic development project. For this executive session, I request the attendance of our executive director, Jim Roberts, operations director, C.J. Gilcher, and chief legal counsel, Nick Ivert, and the board.
Then we need the G2 as well.
Yeah.
And I would also, in that separate motion or same motion?
I think you could do it in the same motion, but you have to do this before you vote for the GA.
Okay. Pursuant to section 12122G2 of the Ohio Revised Code, to consider the purchase of property for public purpose. That's my resolution.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Mr. Step?
Yes.
Mrs. Carter?
Yes.
Mr. Kretzmann?
Yes, we're now in executive session. We're going to- I will move to come out of executive session at 5:01.
Second?
Motion and a second, please call the roll.
Mr. Step?
Yes.
Mrs. Carter?
Yes.
Mr. Kretzmann?
Yes, we're now in regular session, and I would advise that no resolution, rule, or formal action was taken during executive session, and that said statement be reflected in the minutes. Trustee comments?
I have none.
I have none.
I'd like to have some, but I can't think of any, so I'll move to adjourn.
Second?
Motion and a second, please call the roll.
Mr. Step?
Yes.
Mrs. Carter?
Yes.
Mr. Kretzmann?
Yes, we are adjourned.